And welcome to episode 101 of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your two hosts for today, Sean Ani, Director of Operations, and I'm joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing today, Todd?
I'm good.
Good. Well, it's a quieter week, and we're in our second week of doing this without the Q&A thing, which I find immensely annoying. Right. You can, however, tweet to us, and we think we've got the Twitter issue worked out. You can tweet at us at the TB Show podcast, which I'm putting that up on the screen now. Since I had to restart, I didn't realize it wasn't there. But not a whole lot going on this week. Of course, the biggest news being that, well, actually, you and I hadn't discussed this yet, but let's discuss Apple buying a car company.
Yeah, there's just now, right before the show, probably about a half hour ago, Financial Times said that Apple is interested in acquiring Mclaren. The supercar company also has, its feet in Formula One, obviously. And so I was trying to think, and actually I was talking to one of my buddies who's an engineer and a huge F1 fan, and I was like, what's going on here? Obviously this isn't like the Apple car. Apple's not going to go turn around selling $1 million cars, I don't think. But, Formula One is sort of at the peak of auto engineering, like what they're using in their cars, maybe someday, if we're lucky, trickle down to actual cars. And I guess McLaren, according to my buddy, is, very, very big in hybrid technology. So, maybe Apple is just sort of buying the smart team there, if it does buy it, and going to work with them, to build its own car or whatever. I mean, it seems like over the past couple months, we've gone from like Project Titan to being Apple building a car to like maybe Apple just building the platform for other car makers. The lead of the group left in January. Other people have been leaving throughout the months. So it seems like it would make sense. Like if Apple wants to enter the industry, then just buy somebody who's already in it, buy somebody who's got, great research and development, that kind of thing.
Yeah, although, can you just picture Johnny Ive designing a Formula One car?
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I'm not sure, again, like, I don't know that it would be, I bet it would operate independently, and then they would sort of like have people from the group work on other things with Apple or something like that.
I know, but I love the idea of Johnny Ive, in one of those.
Unapologetically slow.
It took courage to make this car unapologetically plastic. Yeah,
this
it's
car
just
has no doors.
Look at the sleek
climb
line.
in the windows.
To gas up the car, we decided that it was better to make it so you had to flip the car 180 degrees onto its roof, and then you could access the gas tank.
The gas tank's underneath the car.
You just got that slow motion Apple style where it's going around the car.
Yeah. We have no windshield.
We found that the steering wheel was cumbersome, so we removed it. So long as you're on a straight line, you're fine.
Yeah. Oh, man.
As much as we've been making fun of Apple lately, though, we were given Sierra yesterday. I had not played with Sierra whatsoever prior to the launch yesterday.
Oh, okay. I've been using the beta for a little while.
Is it just me, or does it boot up really fast?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever really noticed that. It's probably fast.
It's definitely faster, but a couple things that I'm already in love with. I love the idea of the universal clipboard. Mm-hmm. For a long time I've been using Notes, the notepad, to move things between my phone and my computer. So I was like, yay!
Yep.
So that's awesome. I will say this: the iCloud Drive, the fact that it's automatically syncing my documents made me go in and clean my documents folder for the first time ever.
Yeah, I was worried about that too. I think I just set like one folder, which is what I do with SkyDrive, whatever they call it. What's it, OneDrive now?
Yeah,
on Windows. I use it all the time. I don't even know the name of it. Anyway, I kind of like just keep it to one thing.
Yeah, however, I was kind of thankful it made me go in there and clean it up. I had personal letters I had written in there from '96.
Wow.
Because I just keep moving documents with me whenever I move computers. I was like, yeah, I kind of needed to clean out this folder.
That's pretty crazy.
But
wow.
I do think iCloud Drive is useful. I don't know. I mean, the idea of syncing the desktop to me is a little funky because I mean, how many people? Our desktops are usually just cluttered messes.
Yeah, I know. You know what? Mine especially, like, because when you're like saving pictures or press images or whatever, save it to the desktop, and then like 2 days later, I still have all these old images and I clean it up. I actually just cleaned it up this morning. But yeah.
Yeah, so I like the idea of iCloud Drive. It is forcing me to clean up my hard drive a little bit. Otherwise, I mean, Siri, I don't know. It's
Yeah, I
there.
haven't been using Siri that often, and actually, it's weird. I was going to say, so I bought the iPhone 7. The 7 Plus wasn't in stock. And sometimes when I say, like, hey, Siri, the iPhone doesn't, well, there, she just worked, but the iPhone doesn't pick it up that often, it seems, as my other one, so maybe I just have to retrain her. But my 6S Plus seemed to do a better job. And then, while we're on that topic real quick, I canceled my 6S, or my 7 Plus order, because the Note 7's back in stock, the safe ones. I went and grabbed that yesterday.
Huzzah!
Yeah. It was pretty easy, too.
I don't know. I just, with an Echo behind me, it's so much easier just to speak out loud. And with the computer now, I got to click. I mean, yeah. Oh, I know. I got to click something. Oh, poor Sean.
I think you could do like Command Space, too. There's some kind of shortcut. Option Space. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, but I can ask Echo behind me. I don't want to say her name since she'll activate.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know how important Siri is. I haven't had an opportunity to use Apple Pay yet. I think that's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be out there on more websites. But in general, it seems like a snappier operating system. I'm overall happy with it. What have you thought of it so far?
I thought it was fine. I don't use, you were saying universal copy and paste, which is one of those things where I know it's there, but don't use it. And I don't use Siri. It's just one of the, I find, I guess, more and more that on my computer, everything I do is in Chrome. For the most part. And so, like, all these new features come to the computer, and sure, I could use Siri for calendar appointments and stuff like that, but I don't end up using it. And, most of the listeners on the show know I'm a pretty big Windows user, too. So most of the time I'm spending working, I'm on this Windows 10 computer. And I don't really use Cortana either. So I haven't like gone and used it too much. I just use my MacBook Pro, and again, I was using the beta mostly on work trips and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I'm happy with it. I mean, I don't find it life altering, but I will say this, my folks have a Windows computer, and it's hilarious watching my father every time there's updates. I never thought I'd see the day where my father was a complainer about a computer. But good grief, every time he gets hit with updates, he's just a constant complaint fest going on about the way they do it.
It's incredible the way they do it. It drives me nuts. I don't know why they would ever do this. I showed you a picture before the show. My desktop, I went down to get coffee or something and decided to do an update. And I came back, it was updating, and so I opened my laptop, and I was like, okay, I'll just jump on that. And then that one was doing a Windows 10 update, and, it sits there for a while, just, like, going through. So I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't even use my computers right now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, at least with Apple, they give you the option of, if it needs a restart, fine. It asks you when you go to shut down, hey, do you want me to install that for you now?
Yeah.
And that's so much easier.
Windows is like on almost like, not every, but all the time, you restart the computer and, you're going to have an update going.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Which I guess is good, for like considering in the past, you'd have all these people with like open security problems and stuff like that because they weren't updating their computer. It's just kind of frustrating in the middle of the day when you're trying to get work done. And I think you can schedule it, so I shouldn't complain too much. I think you can go in and like set it to, manually update it 4 in the morning or something. But I'd rather just complain about it.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is, now that we have this universal clipboard, can we finally have a clipboard that can hold more than one piece of text at a time?
Yeah.
I've wanted a multi-clipboard for probably literally decades now.
Yeah, like different spaces or something. I don't know how that would work, like clipboard 1, 2, and
Yeah,
3.
and I know there's some apps out there that can do it, but I'm talking built into the OSs. Come on, folks. It's 2016. Let us, fine, limit us to 4. Even if I had 2, I would be happy. I know as soon as I had 2, I'd go, why can't I have 3?
Yeah.
But, kind of like, the fact that I grew to having 2 spare monitors, but still, and there are times where I'm like, hey, I'll use the Apple TV and throw over to a 4th monitor. But, come on, just give us some more space on the clipboard. Let us do a little bit more with clipboard. That's all I really want out of life. Maybe someday.
I wake up every morning. I need it.
I wake up every morning going, is this the day I get more space on a clipboard?
Yeah.
And then every night when I go to bed, well, it was a good day, but I didn't get more space on a clipboard.
Look at this. When I move close to my mic, my face is glowing red.
Yes, I've noticed that. But I think it's just your evil side finally making itself apparent.
I'm Rudolph.
Yes. Little known fact, folks. Todd has a seasonal gig.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you got your replacement Note 7.
Yeah.
They're finally arriving.
Oh, yeah. I want to go through a little story of that because it seems to be, this recall, I guess Samsung did a pretty good job, all things considered. Like, it's already back in store shelves for replacements and that kind of stuff. And if you were listening and you returned your phone, you weren't never, in too much real danger. But the problem was, and I didn't want to create an argument yesterday at AT&T. The problem was the carrier partners, at least my experience with AT&T, they just had no idea what was going on. So yesterday, I go in, I canceled my iPhone 7 Plus order because it wasn't going to get here till October, November. And if you listen to the show, I need that immediate satisfaction. So I got the text message from AT&T, come in, replacement units are here. So that's for people who had already bought the phone, not for new buyers yet. So I go to the store and I say, hey, I heard you have Note 7 units. And the guy's like, no, we don't. And I was like, I just got the text. And he's like, okay, let me check in the back. He goes in the back, yes, they do. And he's like, shoot, I turned somebody away today because I said we didn't have it. And that was one of those things where it's just why? Why didn't you check that time? But, okay, so, so I'm sitting there getting my replacement note, and this other guy comes in, and he says, I've got this note. I don't want it anymore. He's got the bad one still. And he's expletive-ridden conversation here about how he just wants to go back to the iPhone, and they say, well, you're out of your return period, sir, from when you bought the phone, so you can only get an S7 or an S7 Edge or something. And that's technically not true. Technically, according to AT&T's website, to Samsung, to the whole recall thing, and this is where I didn't pipe in because I didn't want to, go to their office and tell them how to do their job, but technically, they can take the phone back any condition, which is, if you remember, when I returned one of my Note 7s that had a cracked screen, and that was an issue, any condition, and you could get a full refund. So technically, he could have gotten a full refund and then said, oh, I want the iPhone instead. But they're trying to tell him he's outside the return period and that he can only get the S7s, which isn't true. According to, maybe that was their in-store policy and that's how they've been doing things, but that's not true according to the recall. You can get a full refund. And it kind of bothers me that there's been so much miscommunication about how this is going and what's going on here. And I think another thing, just to show sort of how confusing it can be too. I got this phone yesterday, and Samsung has all over their website you have a safe phone if the battery icon is green now. My battery icon was still white, so I'm going through the IMEI checker, and it turns out it's safe. And the box had this black square on it, which also says it's safe. But I was worried about that battery, and it turns out it needed some kind of software update that hit last night that turns it green. So I'm sitting there thinking maybe they just gave me another bad phone, or I don't know. Just everything is starting to get very confusing. But I'm not sure it's Samsung's fault because Samsung sort of made these. Well, obviously, end of day, it's Samsung's fault. But they made these units available, but the carriers are obviously so confused what's going on, and they're not getting the messaging right. I don't know. It's turned into kind of a headache, and I feel bad for like that guy yesterday who, should have been able to get the phone he wanted. And he said this was like his third time back in the store, and AT&T wouldn't take the phone, which is just mind blowing. Like,
now, see, that's where we differ. I would have piped up in about 2 milliseconds and gone, "Hey, wait a minute."
Yeah, like that's not the rule. I didn't. Yeah, I know, but I would already run into the argument back at the first AT&T. This was a different store, by the way, at the first one with the cracked screen, and this is why I didn't go back there, because I had to say, like, look, no, I know the rules of this recall, and, eventually had to drop, like, I'm in the press, I've been following this, I know what your rules are, and I didn't want to, like, part of me feels like a jerk doing that. And like, especially if I'm like going, to bat for this other guy and saying like to another employee, hey, by the way, I overheard and, you're wrong. I just didn't.
Right.
I didn't want to cause a scene.
I'm the same way. I try to keep I'm in the technology press corps to the last possible second. That I never ever lead with that.
Yeah, the only reason I had to bring it up too with the Note 7 initially was the guy like literally. I said, hey, I had 2 boxes. One was the my broken one, and one was the regular one. And the guy like literally was like, no, I'm not taking that back, and like almost kind of like pushed the phone back to me across the table, and I was like, yeah, you are, and it was just like, no, absolutely not. And I'm like, no, like this is recalled, like you have to take it back. It's the end of the story. And so he was like, so the manager finally comes over and she's like, okay, we'll take it. And he's like, she's just being nice. And I'm like, no,
that's not how recalls work.
Yeah. And so I was just so, Joe Consumer might have been like, okay, well, crap, and walked out of the store. And then they have this dangerous phone that isn't allowed on planes and is officially recalled by the U.S. government.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And folks, I'll put this out there to everyone who's listening to this show. If you still have a dangerous Note 7 and your carrier store, no matter what carrier it is giving you any grief, you need to pursue this. Yeah. Recalls override any rules any carrier has. Period.
Yeah, they're all taking recalls and exchanges and everything like that. And now the good news is most of the, I think all of them as of today have the new replacements in stock. Samsung said yesterday 500,000 shipped, so you should be good to go. And they have all the colors. At least, I mean, I got the blue one, which is sort of the rare one, so I assume they have black and stuff too.
Right. So yeah, folks, if your carrier or the retail store you purchase this at, if anybody gives you grief over this, please pursue this, because number one, you cannot have that phone in your possession anymore. I mean, no one's going to come and arrest you, but it is a dangerous device. You have to get it returned. This is a recall that overrides any carrier rules, that overrides any return windows, that overrides everything.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. And, this is a situation we run into all the time. You and I, anyone that works at TechnoBuffalo or anyone in the tech world, we always do know more than the store employees. And, I'm not saying that to be boastful or egotistical or anything. It's just, these are, hourly wage people. They're not, they're only working with what they're given. And so often we see situations where they're not given all the information.
Yeah, I think that was the thing too. Like, when I first went, I was like, no, like the recall is on your site. It's att.com/Galaxy S7 or Galaxy Note 7. And he's like, no, it must be new. It must be a new policy. Like, it's not a new policy. It's the official one. I've been covering it for a week,
Good grief.
Yeah, sometimes. And it's because their job is to sell phones, and the pun there, I love it, cell phones. Their job is to sell phones. And our job sort of like cover them and write about them and stuff too. So, like we know, we've been following it. And so I get it. Like, they're like okay, you can't get the Note 7, so buy the S7. Like, that's their end goal, right? Like, sell you a phone in the store, get you on a data plan, and make money. You know, our goal is to tell you, like, here's the situation, here's what you really should do. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Oh, good grief. Well, you mentioned that you have the iPhone 7 now in your possession.
Yeah.
And as always, folks, this does not constitute the official TechnoBuffalo review. But how are you liking it so far? I
like it a lot. I have obviously just the regular 7, and then I bought the battery pack, which I'm showing here, because the battery life's not fantastic. But I got to tell you, I went to the smaller one because the other one wasn't in stock, and I was waiting for it. And I actually am digging the smaller size, believe it or not. So
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I know. But with the Note, it's sort of like, okay, because I always carry 2 big phones, like it was the Plus and then a Note or whatever, the other, like an Android phablet. And now it's kind of nice to have like a smaller one, even though it's kind of bulky with this battery pack on it. But honestly, like I don't notice any real difference. I mean, the camera seems to be, good. Okay. Actually, one person, I was sending pictures from the beach this weekend of my dog, and someone was like, you take that with your fancy camera? And I was like, they were referring to my Sony mirrorless camera. And I was like, no, it's just actually the iPhone 7. But, there's been a lot of tests. Like, Consumer Reports said it's not even, it's not better than, like, the iPhone 6S. So, which I kind of find hard to believe. But, and they kind of dig deeper into that kind of stuff with their photography experts than we would. Just from, like, everyday use, though, the camera does seem like a jump up to me. It also feels pretty fast, but so did my 6S Plus. So I'm like, meh.
Anytime you mention taking pictures of Mabel now, I think back to that Reddit thread.
Yeah, my karma post.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Todd has an adorable little dog named Mabel, and he caught this great picture of her like in mid-leap, and her ears are flying out to the side, and he got posted onto Reddit, in Photoshop challenge. Yeah. There were some really funny results.
Yeah, of her like flying around, or people like a stormtrooper riding on her and stuff like that.
My particular favorite was her being a fleet of bombers.
Yeah.
Flying over a city and bombing.
Some crazy stuff.
There was some amazing stuff on there. But well, I'm glad you like it. Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. I'll wait for my review. I gotta think about it a little bit more. Oh, well, but I love the stereo speakers. That's definitely worth mentioning.
Cool.
They're great. It's nice having them.
We do have some questions coming in from Brazen Franco. Thank you for finding us, Brazen. Do the new Note 7 also fix the issues with the S Pen where the clicking mechanism could fail?
I never ran into that issue, and I don't. That's a good question. I don't know. Clicking mechanism is working.
We got a question here from Mike Beard, at which I can already tell you where I'm going to fall on the side of this one. Why does Google keep making messaging chat apps? Hangouts, Messenger, Allo. What's the point? Mike, I wish we knew.
Yeah, I wish we knew too. I think Allo was like their. I'm not saying they copied iMessage by any means, but I think they're doing that same play where like they can get an app store in there and charge for stuff if they want to. It's much more rich than I think Hangouts. Hangouts always felt broken to me. I don't know about you, but I still turn on like an Android phone and get messages that are like months old when I boot it up.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts.
My only problem with Google, and just like with Hangouts on Air, that we lost the Q&A portion of the show. With Google, you just can never trust them how long they're going to keep a product around.
Yeah, exactly. Watch, like, we use Allo, and most people don't, and then they just kill it in a year or something. It's like, yeah,
it's ridiculous how often they kill products.
And Messenger has been like their SMS software, but this supports SMS too. So it's sort of like, why Messenger? And not to mention, like, all these phones, like my Samsung phone comes with its own Messenger application. It's just like, I don't know. And then then I'm hopping into Group Me and Slack and WhatsApp, all these things I use on a daily basis. Facebook Messenger, like
it used to drive me nuts back, like 10 years ago. You had AIM, MSN Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, and it seemed like all my friends were using different ones. And I was like, I hate having to run 3 messaging apps.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so annoying. And now it's like, just like you said, I've got people that only will contact me on Skype. I've got people that only contact me on Hangouts. I've got people that only contact me in Slack. Yeah, and it's just like, oh, please.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of this.
It's a headache.
It is. It's a massive headache.
But anyway, it's fun. I just wish they have that sticker feature, which I've actually very much been enjoying in iOS 10. If you listen to the last show, I was talking about my Justin Bieber sticker pack. And I like that in iOS 10 and iMessage, you can drag the stickers and kind of drop them wherever you want like in the messaging. So it kind of just looks like you slapped a sticker on top of someone's text or something, which is fun. And in Allo, as far as I can see so far, it's just sort of like it's a sticker. You just send it and it's its own message and you can't like drag and drop it anywhere. I thought the other one's a lot more fun.
From Brazen Franco, on the new system, if the amount of viewers isn't higher than the previous system, why not just look at YouTube live chat? I will look at that. Everything I've seen, they keep saying, "Oh, well, you have to use Google Slides now," and I'm like, "What? Give us back the Q&A window." It's not a difficult concept. You had it working,
right?
From Simple Millennial, do you think iPad and MacBooks will remove the headphone jack or add a lightning port? I was on a radio show last weekend and that topic came up, and we really could not come to a decision on this. I really don't know what they're going to do. I think the headphone, we all know they've been asking in that survey that they send out to MacBook Pro owners, how often do you use the headphone jack? I'm using it right now.
Oh yeah, me too.
I use it every day. But if they removed it, they don't currently have a lightning port on their computers. So are they going to add a lightning port? And if so, will it do anything other than be the headphone jack?
That's a really good question. That's confusing. And then, or are they just going to put a dongle from Lightning to USB-C into the box?
I don't know. This is a real puzzler because are they going to? I can't think that Apple would make it now. I'll use a USB-C adapter. They're going to slam us with all these adapters, but there's not a whole lot of point to a lightning port being on a MacBook Pro other than to be the headphone jack.
Right. What's the data transfer rates on that? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Probably pretty good. But
so yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of lost on how they're going to handle this. Because they definitely are going to... They've made it clear that they have the courage to get rid of the headphone jack.
I wouldn't be surprised if what we see is like a MacBook, maybe a MacBook Air without headphone jack and Lightning, and like just basically saying use Bluetooth, and then you have like a Pro that still has the headphone jack or something, or Lightning. I'm just totally guessing.
Yeah, no, everything in this part of the conversation is definitely a guess. From Brazen Franco, Todd, does the iOS 10 UI feel messy compared to previous versions? Have noticed so many awkward design choices when I tried it. I'm running it on my iPhone 6 Plus. I like it better.
I like it better too. I like that you swipe over and you've got the widgets. I actually started using 3D Touch more because there's more you can do with it. And then my favorite is just the what do they call that bar? That's a control center that swipes up from the bottom. Because I could go through and the music controls are right there, and then I think I talked about this on earlier shows, but HomeKit. So I have all my lights. Can anybody see that? All my light bulbs around the house and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I could always just open up the Philips Hue app to do that too. But with this, it's super quick. I just like pop the lights on and off. And
I actually had not opened Control Center since iOS 10. Man, it's bigger though.
Yeah, and you can swipe back and forth between them. there's multiple pages. There's 3 pages.
Oh wow! I love the fact podcast is in there.
Yeah, whatever audio you had playing. So like I have Apple Music there, but it might be Spotify, other things. Also, I think that like using Siri with third-party apps is cool if you want to do that, like schedule a dinner or something. But I wish, and it sounds like, I guess I was reading in the Wall Street Journal, Joanna Stern wrote about the third-party apps in Siri, and I didn't know this, but Apple didn't give the software tools to like third-party music companies. So one of the nice things about Google is you can say like, okay, play, okay, Google, play, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and initially it'll say like, what app do you want to use, like Spotify, Google Play Music, whatever you want. But this is going to be, like you say, hey, Siri, play Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's only going to go through Apple Music, and that's kind of a bummer.
Once again, Echo.
Yeah, exactly. And that was actually the example in the article they used, that Amazon doesn't, block you from that either. But Apple, they want you to stick around and only use, certain products for certain things. So that kind of sucks.
I'm excited because I've got should be arriving today. Amazon had a TP-Link sale on Monday, and I ordered some.
I love TP-Link products.
Yeah, I ordered some of their smart outlets.
I use their wireless smart outlets. Nice.
Yeah,
adapters, because they're much faster than what you get in your computer. TP-Link stuff.
Oh, really? I will have to give that some thought. Yeah, TP-Link it's one of those companies that you don't hear much about, but they make quality products.
Yeah, they use good chips.
Yeah, I've used some of their home networking stuff, like switches and stuff.
Nice.
To run Ethernet cables.
Product in it from them, and I really like it. It was like $15 or something.
Because doesn't everyone have a
episode brought to you by?
Well, doesn't everybody have a 24-port switch in their house?
Yeah. Do you really?
Yes, I have a 24-port switch in my house.
Wow, I've got 2 routers, but I don't have a switch running.
Let's see, I've got 3 routers running. Yeah, I've got 3 routers in the house. Yeah. 3 routers, a 24-port switch. Yeah, I mean, if anyone ever comes in my house and tries to figure out how the internet is run around that house, good luck.
My funny thing on switches, my grandfather on my dad's side, Fletcher Hazelton, worked on the very first phone switches. And so he's in like the Smithsonian or something for the invention.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
funny. And I'm
pretty
a tech
awesome.
blogger.
From Brazen Franco, the data transfer rate on Lightning is the same as USB 3.0 on the iPhone 7, 2.0 on previous. Well, then, okay, there could be an argument made for a Lightning port, but then, we have to have a whole slew of Lightning port accessories. Oh, good grief. Can we just...
It does make things confusing. Then maybe there will just be one there, though. Like, primarily for use, you would have a cable maybe for data transfers because it's USB 3.0 if you're like, going to your iPhone, and then otherwise for headphone jack or headphones.
From Brazen Franco, does Siri on Sierra have the same level of integration on the OS as Cortana does on Windows 10? I have not used Cortana on Windows 10, so I'm not positive.
Yeah, I'm not positive either. I don't use either very much. I mean, I use Windows 10 all day long, but I don't use Cortana very much.
Yeah,
I check the weather.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see a whole lot of reason to have voice assistant on a computer yet. I'm sure that will change, but at this...
Yeah, I think it'll... Yeah, I think you're right. I think later.
Yeah, at this moment, I'm just kind of like, okay, Siri's
Imagine
there.
if you could be like, hey, Siri, watermark this folder of photos.
Oh.
Stuff like that. I mean, that would be useful for us. Hey, Siri, write a blog post for me.
Don't joke about that, because there are systems out there now that can
do that. I know.
Let's not even joke about that possible concept. But that's That is something that scares the living bejeebies out of me. And I wonder if, for those that don't know, there are algorithms out there and it's used mainly in sports writing.
Yeah, I was going to say sports news and probably business.
Yeah, all they do is drop in the score and who played and all that, and out pumps an article.
Yeah, like a snippet story.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I just hope it never enters the tech field. But anyway, and then it truly will be articles written by Todd.
Yeah, the robot version of me.
Well, that's what I work on in my weekend time anyway. But
I'm building it.
I'm building Todd.
Oh man,
it's Todd 2.0. Oh, good grief. So I don't know. I think Apple, going back to the whole McLaren car thing for a minute. One thing I laughed about when I proofed your article was, the valuation of the company is like at the high end was like 1.89 billion.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why doesn't Apple just do this?
They're sitting on all that cash. Like, it would just make sense. And maybe that's why it'll happen.
They're sitting on this gigantic war chest. Really, what does plunking down 1.89 billion for a company mean to them? Nothing.
I know. I mean, they spent $3 billion on Beats. So, like...
Yeah, I know. That's so bizarre to me. With F1 being one of the top 3 sports in the world, that boggled my mind that company's only worth that much.
Yeah, boggled my mind too. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't follow those car companies much.
Me either. Yeah, I'm just not a car guy. When I recently heard that F1 was the top 3 sports in the world, I was like, really? Okay.
Yeah, people love it. I'd like to watch it more. It's harder for us to watch it here in the United States when the races are abroad. The timing can be off. You got to get up early.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to watch a car race, I'll watch F1 just because I find it more interesting. Especially with all the curbs and corners and
versus NASCAR just looping. Although isn't that like the number 1 sport in the U.S.?
In the U.S., I believe so.
Yeah.
But globally, I know soccer and F1. I'm not sure what the other one is in the top 3.
Cricket, maybe?
It's either got to be cricket or rugby.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that the top sports in the world don't even rank in the U.S. hardly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have football and baseball. Basketball.
Yeah, that just makes me laugh. Well, folks, I think that is going to bring this week's show to a close. We are still going to be trying to figure out the whole question and answer thing, but although Twitter seemed to have worked better this week. As always, you can find the TechnoBuffalo Show on iTunes by searching for the TechnoBuffalo Show, and we do appreciate if you rate and review us. That does help out the show. You can also find us on Pocket Casts. You can subscribe via RSS feed. You can find us in the Google Play Store, or you can listen to us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Essentially, wherever there's a podcast, you can find the TechnoBuffalo Show. Until next time, I'm Sean Ani. I'm the Director of Operations. I've been joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Bye, everybody.
Until next week, take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.